Hello and welcome. This is going to be an average summer day in my life as an aspiring entrepreneur that is 18 years old. I haven't got much technical experience. I barely know how to use Claude Code at all, but I'm trying to get things done. So today it is 12:30 and I have so far just done a lot of admin for school things, but now we're actually getting onto the nitty-gritty of entrepreneurial stuff. So I've realised the value that Claude Cowork has on literally everything. So I've really been focusing on using Claude and Obsidian to get together a list of extensive questions to figure out how I'm going to execute this. If you're ever struggling with figuring out what to do, my best tip is to just ask AI, here is what I'm trying to achieve. Give me as many questions as you can think of to build context. Just go in rounds of 10 questions. 10 questions on the broad topics, 10 questions on the logistical side, 10 questions on the creative side, whatever. Just to say, ask me 10 questions on each aspect of whatever you're trying to build, and it will gain enough context to give you a proper plan. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, because up until August 5th, I think, or 4th, I've got 100% extra Claude Cowork usage, and up until sometime in August, we've got even more Claude Code usage. So I'm also going to be updating my website as well, because the copy of that has just been AI-ified. So I'm going to try and add a bit more personality to that, practice my copywriting skills. And other than that, I haven't really got anything else to learn. I'm going to be filming a few reels because always got to keep the content going. And I'm going to be talking about apps that are worth your time investing in. So that will be published by the time this is published. So I'll put that as a link in the description as well. Talking about the apps that I have learned over the past 2 years of trying to figure out entrepreneurial ideas and what is worth the time and what isn't worth the time. Once again, just for full transparency, I literally know very, very minimal information on nearly everything. I don't know anything to do with the legal side of anything. I don't know much really about content structure. I only watched a few Instagram reels on short form content and stuff like that and hooks. Very, very novice at AI, but I'm asking AI and utilising the Claude Pro plan that I do have to help me catch up to speed and automate as many processes that I can so I can focus on the actual building aspects of what I'm trying to do. I do also have a plan to utilise Claude Code, which is to make a personalised. I think that would be a very good way to actually build a full-blown app, not just a personal website. And practice vibe coding, practice adding it to an app, having a download page. The security side of that doesn't really matter because it's not going to be a proper product, but it's just something I can test and build something properly with. All right, so I've just checked my Google Calendar and I've realised that I have got quite a lot of Instagram reels that I've saved. Very, very useful call to actions that they have. I'm going to be analysing them, categorising the information so I can make the most of it and they don't just stay in my collections, because that's what most people really do. They save things and then they never actually get back to using the information that they've saved. So I'm going to be spending an hour going through about 50 Instagram reels, categorising the information and learning the most that I can about short form content structure, improving your life, whatever. So when you're trying to figure out things as an entrepreneur, you easily let things slip. So the last clip was recorded a whole week ago. And I have done a lot in that week. I've got a lot further on my project and Claude Code is just whistling and woozling with that at the moment. So it's now the next Monday. It's now 3:15 in the afternoon. And what my day basically consists of at the moment is letting Claude Code work on my project that will be released in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully, once I've got a website spun up and everything like that. Working heavily with Claude Cowork as well, and Obsidian, to ask as many questions as possible, because I'm sure in my last video about how to get your life together or the ultimate prompt, AI, the greatest gift that AI has given us is to act as an interviewer. A lot of the time when we're stuck, we don't know what step to take next. And asking AI to figure out where you are in the plan, your greater plan, and figure out the next steps and figure out your key principles of why you were doing a certain thing is a great way to figure out where you want to go. The most beneficial tip I can give you is to set up as many systems as possible. If you don't quite know what you want to pursue in life or how you're going to pursue it and you're still figuring that out, learn as many skills and implement as many systems as you possibly can. Get Google Calendar, get an online drive. I personally use OneDrive, but you could use Google Drive. Get a proper note-taking app that you can learn properly, and it is very versatile. Re-engineer your algorithms for your success and for your pure action-taking education rather than just education that doesn't actually serve you in your dreams. The world is always going to reward the skills that you have, so build as many useful skills as you possibly can and really think into the future. Not think about what the world has told you, what your peers have told you, what your parents have told you about how life is going to pan out. Take a look at the market, take a look at society, and really figure out what skills are worth investing in. If you personally don't like AI, figure out how AI will shift in the future, whether it is going to stick or whether it's going to be another meme coin, for an analogy, and really come to terms with what's going to give you the best chances later in life. Now, I've been very blessed with a great algorithm of Instagram Reels and of YouTube, but unfortunately many people don't have that. So try and engineer your algorithms as much as you can and spend as little amount of time on them as possible. Because there is that quote, you are what you consume, and that couldn't be more true. I think about this often and try and re-engineer my life and the actions that I'm taking to always align with what I'm trying to get, where I'm trying to go in life, rather than what's giving me the most amount of satisfaction or joy. Because satisfaction and progress are two entirely different things. So try and be as level-headed as you possibly can. This wasn't supposed to turn into some sort of life advice, because this isn't my place to tell you what to do, but that's just what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you too much about my projects because I'm trying to make sure that it all properly works before I tell people about it and it is actually useful and validated as a gap in the market for some people, but it will be coming out very soon. Let's just say that it's taking a lot of time. If you can spin something up incredibly quickly, probably doesn't mean there's much of a learning curve. If you go back and forth, especially with Claude Opus 4.8 and even Opus 5, I'm still getting kickbacks because it isn't realising my objective. And that isn't because the model is dumb. That is because I do not have the level of intelligence to prompt engineer my exact request. And that's the great thing about AI. It can make you realise your weak areas more than you ever thought you could. It is like especially if you engineer it right, to be completely unbiased and tell you your weakest areas and all of your flaws. It can be a literal personal coach. And if you don't have somebody in your life that is like that or plays that role of giving you honest feedback whenever you ask for it, then I suggest that you do explore more into this, because for me personally it is the most useful skill that I've learned, and I don't mean to bore you anymore by wasting your time. So I'm going to go and film some reels now for some information that I've learned, and once again figure out how I'm going to execute my dreams, because I like saying this and I really got to rephrase it differently, but we are the youngest and only going to be the youngest we're ever going to be today. But we're only going to get older from this point on. So you really need to attack your life goals with as much force as you want to put in. Obviously, I'm not telling you that you've got to pursue something, but this is the only life we've been guaranteed, and we've only ever got the present, so try and make the most of it. If you want to know about some insights into what I do on a daily basis, it's mainly just sending emails for things related to college and my academics, and then just managing Claude systems, building what I'm trying to build, and spending a lot of time answering questions that AI has generated to help me really figure out and niche down and uncover some psychological insights that not even I can fathom about myself. Because it turns out that on a personal level, most people don't even know themselves. They know more about other people than they do about themselves. Because once again, they've got that biased film on it. So I hope you go and take some action right now. I think this might as well be the end of my day in the life, because I'm not going to do the cringe B-roll shots. I find it cringe. It doesn't really add any value to your life, and I don't want this to turn into a 30-minute talk about what I'm doing without revealing too much. So we'll see what projects come up, but just try and be the best that you can be within the parameters that you're given. With whatever you're doing, if you want to be the best bed rotter and doom scroller, optimise your setup for that. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.